Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero here on the Tour Coach. If you're looking to get better at coaching, teaching, or playing the game of golf, you're in the right spot. I'm about to take you behind the scenes, inside the ropes, with all of the people I meet on my journey in the game of golf that are here to shed some experiences and shed some information that's going to help your journey improve and get better. Get ready. Let's go. Let's get better. All right.
You guys changed it.
We've changed. We used to be audio only, but the people demanded more.
The people. I got
The people.
right.
Welcome to the Tour Coach. I mean, we've been doing these a while, and I felt like we needed to have this one tonight. We hadn't had a round table in a while, and in particular, we hadn't had a round table with Morgan Hale and Zach Suker in a while. Almost together. We hadn't had one of those since the, well, you weren't there for the infamous Corey Pavin night.
Right.
But Coop was. Anyways, we're at one of our world famous retreats. Great group of 13 juniors down here at Old Palm. It was a fun day. Heck of a day. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah, it was a great day.
Oh yeah.
I had a great day.
Yep. So we're gonna start. We got some questions from a peanut gallery. I want to start with Mo. Mo, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
That's where I'd start.
Love that.
That's where I.
And two. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry.
Jamie, like a bit
I'm sorry.
now.
So
She can
tongue-tied.
Tongue-tied.
So Mo,
We call it.
one of the questions submitted to us was, stuff you know now that you wish you knew then. You just got through, or not just got through, been a few months, your first season as the director of instruction at the Creek Club. First of all, congratulations. We're all proud of you. And I was fortunate enough to go up there for a couple days, and what an awesome place. Unbelievable dinner at the Beach Club that night. Very, very cool spot. Proud of you. But so now that you've gone off and on your own, you're your own director of instruction, tell us a little about it. What was it like going on your own? And what of some of the stuff that you learned from hanging out with all of us did you apply up there? Or did you just totally scrap it all and say, screw it, I'm going to do my
stuff. Right.
She's doing everything you don't do.
I might not have taken the organizational skills with me, but I might have done my own thing on that side of it. But
That hurt.
I'm still coming back to these. I love it.
You got to admit, though, the itinerary and the scheduling has gotten better.
oh, I mean,
From the early
in
days.
11 years, it's really
It didn't have
come
much
a
to
long
come from.
ways. It's
To go
come-
worse would be really bad.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with it personally. I know your schedule.
Hey, it's always worked out somehow,
That's
some
right.
way.
Shit always works out. That's going to be my next T-shirt.
It always works out.
All right, so quit dodging the question.
What is the question?
Oh, don't get smart with me. All right, so
What do you
on
wish
your
you
own,
knew now
what do you
that
what
you didn't know back?
back
in the
then?
day?
I mean, let's just talk a little bit about the stuff that you learned along the way, hanging out with all of us, that you applied up there, and what did you learn being on your own a little bit up there? I think that's cool. I was glad. I wanted you to go do that, even though I did kind of miss you hanging out. Because, I mean, we hang out a lot when we teach.
We do. No, I think it was, I took a lot of what we do up there, obviously.
Great people, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great membership. Awesome summer. But I took a lot of our structure and the way we structure lessons and, trying to keep it simple, but, trying to set up and be consistent daily.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a big thing up there is, I went up to a place that I knew no one, so I had to rebuild. So that was probably the scariest part, is not knowing anybody up there. I don't have, back home I have a big client base and students that have been following me for a long time, but up there I knew no one, so I had to kind of start from scratch. So I just, from what you and I
But you did that when you first came to Mobile. I guess it was different a little bit,
yeah.
but
I still was I felt like I had, other people above me a little
it was
more.
crazy
And
how young you were when you moved to Mobile.
Anxiety, though.
yeah.
No matter how good you
So
are.
I just, kind of stuck to what I know and what I've learned and being under you and just set up. And I just told myself, just be consistent every day and see how it goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set up everything the same way and went through the structure the same way, and the lessons came, and it was busy and successful. So
we're going to get into stuff from today here shortly, but I'm going to turn to Zach, who played on the PGA Tour for a good bit, Korn Ferry Tour, and we've worked together a long time, and you've been unofficially part of these retreats for a long time. I remember you being at Panama City in Bay Point, which I actually think Bay Point might have been, Coop, you would have loved the Bay Point days.
You would have loved it.
You would have loved the Bay Point days. You think we get off the rails sometimes here. That place, it was off the rails. They were some of the best times of my life. We had fun there. But you've been around us. So, like, going from playing to teaching, you're now teaching golf, helping coach. You're doing a great job helping young people play the game of golf, learn to play, short game, all that stuff, helping a bunch of my juniors. How's the transition been? And what have you taken from, like, the stuff you've seen being around us and all those different things to help you with these kids, if anything? I mean, and maybe you're like, well, shit, I mean, same thing as Morgan.
Nothing. No, didn't do anything different.
Are you saying, like, what am I taking into teaching? Is that what the question is? So it's a little bit of, like, taking the strengths that I had and trying to share that with the kids that don't really have a sense of what they should be working on, I guess, outside of their swing. Most of the kids I've worked with so far have been pretty far along and advanced with the golf swing and fundamentals and that kind of stuff. And so it's been more about teaching them how to score targets, how to make a game plan, how to execute it, how to stay the same when things are going south. Basically, just the scoring aspects that I picked up in the track. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And so I haven't done a whole lot with the fundamentals yet, but so far it's been good.
And I'm going to turn this kind of coming back to you, to Greg, and a slot to Coop. Morgan and I obviously chime in as well. But so you've spent a lot of time with these juniors on the, on the golf course, practicing. Coop, you've spent so much time with them at our retreats. And really anybody that comes to our retreats of all skill levels and ages do the same thing. And Greg, but what are some of the things that you see that golfers that aren't tour players, although we have some, we have at some of these workshops and stuff, we have young people that are getting to the age where they're trying to play for a living. What are some of the things, like, call it the low hanging fruit, the stuff that isn't golf swing related, where, like, you see that the regular golfer or an aspiring golfer or somebody that wants to get better, like, doesn't pay any attention to, but, like, what are the easy things that aren't things Mo and I are going to fix in the, that could really help them play better?
Number one would be how to judge a lie, whether it's down grain into the grain, it's a good or a bad lie in the rough. Exactly what is a good or bad lie in the rough for a lot of the people I've seen. They really have no idea how to. Every shot's the exact same. It doesn't matter the lie to them. They try to do the exact same thing.
That's a great quote right there, because that's how every golfer, like at a club, they play. They hit every shot like it's their full shot. It's a perfect lie.
Yeah, they stole. Exactly, and it's and so it's been.
I still got, but hey, that means something. It must be something that they need to work on. Right, and I think it's off-speed shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Off-speed shots. I don't care how good the kid is, it just isn't as good as his full bore, 1,900 feet pitching wedge.
Yeah, absolutely. In particular with wedges.
It's just
for sure.
You want to see him hit a 150 with a 6-iron.
To your point, and then we'll get Doc to comment, because I feel like he's lonely sitting here. But
no,
that's great. But I feel like you talked about wedges, but I feel like juniors. I mean, it's not just juniors though. It's like. And it's guys and girls trying to get ready to play the tour. Off the tee, they have one speed, one shot too. And then when I would go to tour events, my nose is itching. I go to the tour events with like you or Smiley or Lucas or whoever, right? you got different shots off the tee, different speeds, different whatever.
They all have a fairway finder.
Right, and it's not just one shot they're just going at. Right. And yet, I never see juniors ever, and I never see a recreational golfer. I can remember the years at the Country Club of Mobile, and we'd be, even before we had the teaching building, when we'd be with the old building, you sit there and you watch all the golfers, and they'd all pull their drivers out, they'd all tee them up, and they'd all go at them the same way every shot.
Right.
And they never were really trying to hit a specific shot when they practiced.
Just swinging away, exactly.
We saw that kid today.
Yeah.
At the camp.
Who's that?
Well,
you can't
use
tell
names. Great kid, great player, but had one speed, and it was 150 miles an hour on every single
one
side.
window, one speed.
Yeah.
Never varied.
Yeah.
And good shots.
Has a lot of skill, but
there's times when you don't want to aim over a hazard.
yeah.
Have to a ball move 40
I
yards.
see this a lot with the juniors I work with, is that this happens a lot with kids who are good golfers at a young age, is they develop all that skill, but they don't know how to play golf yet. Right? And it happens, you start to reach that like junior, senior year.
And it's hard to teach somebody.
It is.
They have to learn
because they have to dial it down.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. But there's two components to being a good golfer. You have to have that skill, but you also have to know how to play golf. They're two different things.
How do you develop the ability to play golf?
So the message.
Come to these camps.
Yeah. The message
Email us.
I try to get across to Austin.
Morgan at DewsweepersGolf.com.
Do it up in New York too.
But a simple message to get across to kids is you start shooting better scores not by making more birdies, but by eliminating big numbers. Right. And then your scores start to get really consistent.
I don't think they have the ability to play sideways. Like they would rather go through a tree. It like hurts their pride to hit it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But even tour players get a little bit that way. And I'm going to
Absolutely.
talk about this man for a minute. You remember, this is good. This isn't bad. But you remember when, you were playing Corn Ferry, you were going into Prattville tournament, and we had this talk about, we were texting or we called or maybe you stopped by Mobile. You were making a shit ton of birdies, but you were making too many bogeys and doubles.
Yeah.
And and Coop, you've seen this in players, he would have a bunch of birdies and he'd shoot 3 under, and then he'd finish 38th or 40th.
Mm-hmm.
When he had made birdies in events that were the same as or more than most people in the top 10.
Yeah. Momentum is such a big part of golf.
Uh-huh.
It's so hard to get the mo back after a double.
Correct.
Just seems.
And so I took that old Tiger point system, right, that everybody knows, and I converted it to a bet and a game with him because he's real good if you give him a game and a challenge.
Right. That's
interesting. And I said, like, hey, I'll Venmo you if you can go for any day. You go. We gave a point for you got a point for a bogey on a par 5, 2 points for a double or worse, a bogey with a wedge,
right,
or a 3-putt.
Yeah,
and I said, if you can go any round you play less than 4 points, 3 or 4 points, I said, I forget what the bet was. I'll Venmo you whatever. And I said, but for any point over that, you owe me X dollars for every point.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And the first week at Prattville, he top 10. Right? That's right. It's true. It's true. Right? And I remember his text. He was all, I was like.
Keeping that work interesting is something that.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
huge.
But it's the little things, right?
Set new goals. Like
You got to set yourself up
yeah.
to absorb the feedback. If you don't, you get nothing. I mean,
Absolutely.
wasting your time.
How did you learn to be a golfer?
Like a traveling tour player.
As I think at some point in college, I had a big leap of learning how to score, and I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I mainly, knocked my double percentage way down. I used to have a much bigger miss with the driver. Learned how to get one in play. I started hitting more fades, and it was like that was kind of one of the big jumps I had. And I had more as I went along. It usually involved short game, or I loved a 2-iron. They got something. I found a club that I could put in the fairway every time.
How cool is that, though?
That is so cool.
No kids ever, no kids are
No
golfers.
kids.
And no golfer at your country club ever goes, I just need to find a club I can put in play. Ever.
Right.
So you just said it. You got better when you stopped making big numbers. You didn't make more birdies.
Yeah,
That's what
I didn't learn how to hit it further or like
Right.
crazy
Or closer.
or way better. Yeah, exactly. It
So your
wasn't.
misses got dialed in.
Yeah, and I might have gotten a little better at that part as well, but it was.
I think
definitely
that'll come
more
with it.
Yeah,
Whether you want to.
two iron. Two iron is the greatest club. It doesn't go crooked. It just goes shorter. If
Right.
you hit it bad, like it.
No, it goes crooked.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to hit.
Hard to hit one. Yeah.
It usually just
usually a
goes
shank if it ain't
straight
good.
and shorter.
Right.
It's like it's
That's a
fairway
good
finders.
point. Fairway finders. You know, we do our thing on the first tee here.
Right.
And they haven't been to the range, and I ask them, anybody have a fairway finder? And most of the kids under 15 don't even know what I'm talking about.
You mean my driver?
It's just-
That I rip?
All right, so you caddied on tour a long time.
Yep.
Best players you ever saw that were golfers, that like those things we just talked about,
Right.
that knew how to hit fairway finders,
Corey Pavin.
didn't,
Maybe. Guy won a lot of golf tournaments.
right? But knew, didn't go at everything full. Everything was different speeds. Could hit whatever shot. But people that come to mind.
You know, Sevy always blew my mind, but that's trouble shots. What you're talking about, I really got to think about. And I don't want to say Lucas, but he comes to
No,
mind in all
I
these categories. You know, he's so natural.
right.
He was probably one of the best at playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he played bad,
Still play golf.
wasn't that bad.
I remember the one time that he told a kid at one of these camps, when he came out to Old Palm, the one time, I think it was one time he came out and he told a kid, like, if I play, and I'm probably a little off on the numbers, but I probably don't hit 2 or 3 shots around that I hit as hard as I can hit.
Full.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that blew kids and blew people away. But yet,
Because he hits it
juniors,
far.
recreational players, that's what they do.
But they don't understand and can't absorb that some of the purest shots you hit are layups, and they go too far, but you don't swing that hard. You know, that's a pretty smooth, fluid swing. And to this very day, I, see people would hit involved in layups. It's like, why are they working that hard? Take another club. Today I've tried to do that a little bit. Take another club. You're just swinging way too hard.
Greg, what other observations from what we were talking about, low hanging fruit and helping people become better golfers? You brought up this great topic. It's great.
I think from the mental side, there's a lot of misconceptions about that there's a right way to think. Like, I have to think a certain way to play well. And then you always ask people, well, when you play your best, what are you thinking about? And they don't know. Right? So there's no right way to think. And trying to find that right way to think causes more problems than it helps people. So my message to kids, or everyone really, is...
Don't you think, like, a lot, and we're talking kids here,
Yeah.
but where they're afraid to get mad because their parents have told them not to get mad.
So mad's a big one, or pressure. It's like a kid today asked me on the putting green. He said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just get nervous before tournaments.
Nothing's wrong. You're normal.
I'm like, well, what's wrong with being nervous? He's like, I don't know. You're just not supposed to be nervous. Oh man, we got a long way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that you can be nervous, you can be anxious, you can be frustrated, you can be mad, assuming you don't think that that's wrong,
It's a feeling you can enjoy.
then you're okay. The second you start to judge what you're thinking or feeling, you've created a problem for yourself. And anger is the big one. I just get so angry after. Great. But somewhere along the line told you you're not supposed to get angry, so you don't, it's not the anger, it's that you get mad at yourself for getting angry.
Yeah.
Or you judge yourself for being angry. And that's what causes the problems. I think there's a lot of misconceptions still around this idea that we're supposed to feel or think a certain way to play well. And that was caused, I think, by our field of thinking positive and blocking out thoughts.
I think you're right.
Feeling good all the time. And so you can tolerate all that stuff and still play all right. You can be anxious and still play good golf.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's good. Zach?
I got one more to add to that.
Yes, we want.
Running out of power here.
I think like understanding their golfers' tendencies. They don't. I think people have do a bad job of like actually self-evaluating like where their misses are, what they do if out of bounds is left, or if they've got to carry water, or anything about like their average tendencies. They don't pay any attention to them.
That's yeah. I think one thing that like I think most tour players know what they do well, and they play to that. Whether like Lucas hitting a draw or whatever.
Eliminating the left side of the course.
Right.
Whatever
They take out a certain side. They hit a certain shot. Unless, to me, it's the 16th, 17th, 18th hole, you're one back, or it's situational. You never see a tour player hit a shot that they don't know how to hit or that they don't have a reasonable chance at pulling off. Right. And you see high school golfers, junior golfers, college golfers, you see recreational golfers try to hit shots.
Play every hole like it's the 72nd on Sunday.
Correct. They do. Instead, they don't understand situational golf.
You have to feed yourself into a round. Like
people,
you can't.
They don't understand that the more pars you try to make, the more birdies you're going to make, versus the more birdies you try to make, the more bogeys and doubles you're going to make. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you could go out, I asked this to that kid, Greg, today, hit it on that par. You might have been with them on that first hole. He chipped it up to like 20 feet. He hit a birdie putt, and he was pissed because he thought he should be closer. I said, what if you took a ball and went on every hole and dropped it 20 feet from the green every round?
Yeah, what would you shoot?
Yeah, how good would that be? And that's like you're playing for par. Like I just want to get near the pin somewhere. It doesn't have to be pretty. And you give yourself enough looks, you're going to be just fine. But they get so damn pissed. And part of it is expectation. They don't understand statistics really either.
Yeah, they think like the pro statistics are way different.
And start to dig into some of those.
Like how many, I mean, Mo, you and I see this with just regular golfers. And, you know, like, so even take teaching in the building and you pull up the Bushnell and it's on there. Good plug there, little, right? Bushnell, Launch Pro. And they'll hit a shot. They'll hit a shot that's, and they like, oh, they're pissed. That wasn't any good. That was too far left. And you're like, well, no, it was 16 feet or 24 feet.
Tour average.
32 feet. Like they're hitting a 6-iron. They're a 15 handicapper, and they've hit it 33 feet. Well, like, how close do you think you're supposed to hit it all the time, right? Like, I mean.
That's the hardest thing with the junior golfers these days, the perfectionists. They try to be so perfect with every shot.
Yep.
Even if it's just not right off
their
the center.
Their expectations outran their ability.
It's crazy.
How did that happen? Where did expectations start going crazy?
I think a lot of it comes from the golf we watch on TV is the leaders playing and they're hitting it close and making every
They didn't today.
No. They would have been a good one to watch. Yeah.
That was sweet.
We're talking about watching
the third round of the Genesis.
Third round of the Genesis.
That was special.
But I think that's part of it. I think. I don't know. And then
I mean, it was.
I think
It was.
every golfer struggles with this idea that they hold themselves accountable to the best round they've ever played. Mm-hmm. So if they shot 67 one day, they're a 67 shooter. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, that's off their. Their expectations are not met. And that's a hard thing to fight against.
See, I go the opposite. Zach knows this because we got into a fight in the Old Palm parking lot one time. But I mean, I consider myself
10 shots.
I consider myself
Those kids today,
an 85
what are you
shooter
doing?
because I shot it one time.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
But
that's what happens to good, especially good junior golfers, is they shot a certain score once, and that's who they are as a golfer, and that's their benchmark.
well, and all players, but especially up-and-coming golfers, are guilty of it with distances and yardages as well.
Same thing.
If they've hit their 7-iron 178 yards one time, they think that's their yardage.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can hit. Right. I mean, I asked
without taking anything else into consideration.
I asked a kid today, you know, on the Bushnell, he hit one and he striped it. Golf, and I said, he goes, and he's like, yeah, but that was only half swing, didn't go as far. And I go, well, how far do you normally hit your 7-iron? And he's like, oh, when I hit it good, I hit 182. Like, no, right? Like, I mean, hit these good ones, he hit 166, 170 yards, right? Like, so whenever they've hit one, people, if they've hit one downwind out of a flyer line, right?
They don't know what a flyer is.
But they don't know what a flyer is.
I heard one today.
Oh, yeah. They don't know.
Do you know what just happened? And they didn't have
No clue.
that ball was still in the air.
Well, I saw G today saying he's going to hit a 3/4 7-iron, and he swung out of his shoes.
Yeah.
That was his
know.
3/4 7-iron.
Oh, can I answer your question?
Yes. Which, I don't even remember which question.
Who maneuvered the ball?
That, yeah.
Had to be Camilo Bajegas.
Oh, yeah.
He would hit that sucker out of the first floor window all day long.
Yeah, flight at sea.
How about Bubba?
Always flighting.
I didn't have the opportunity to see Bubba play a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
He always
definitely up there.
was amazing
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah,
the
I
way
just
he
didn't-
played shots.
Yeah, you're right about that. Those two, they vary about every shot.
I'll tell you who curves it a lot both ways and is really creative. I mean, obviously he's a great player. You're going to go dub, but like Scheffler.
Oh.
The way Scheffler curves it and maneuvers it around.
Mm-hmm.
And I know.
Both ways.
Yeah, and I know from a little bit talking to Randy and people like, that he practices that.
Why
thing.
is it that we don't see kids, and I say kids under 20, that can hit it both ways? I haven't ran across
Track
many.
man.
Track man.
Everybody,
Launch,
everybody.
everything.
And they can hit
So
it
we're
far
not
enough to where they think it doesn't matter.
And they really
Yeah,
don't
but-
have to.
But and again, a lot of being what's taught now is one shot, and
Right.
I don't necessarily
What they're
disagree
taught.
with that.
Right, I don't
But it's
either.
hit it hard and let it fall right.
I'm with it.
But I think that with TrackMan and, I mean, Mo, how many kids do we have come in and they'll hit a perfect shot and they'll go, but my path was. I mean,
So it didn't matter.
A girl we taught the other day,
a curving
you
path.
help us with, hits a perfect shot, but my path was 5 degrees into out.
That's my favorite.
Right? We didn't know that growing up. You didn't know that growing up, right? Like, if we striped one right at it, I mean, shit, that was a great golf swing, right? But, like, you have kids now that stripe it, hit a beautiful shot at it, and they look at the number, and it's not what they want.
They
and they're
overcorrect.
like, and they overcorrect. And I think they get so into making a number perfect, which those numbers do produce a shot.
We talked about this the other day when you were giving that lesson. Teach for 30 minutes.
You should have seen the one I taught tonight. It was a good one.
No, I heard.
It used to be back in the
And
day,
then
like when I,
shut the damn thing off and have them hit balls
right.
for 30 minutes.
When I started caddying, like a player never wanted to see the ball cross the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Very few straight shots you saw 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
Very few, But now the ball really is designed not to curve. So I can see why these kids hit it like they do.
Yeah. But I do think it makes them, going back to what's going to be the title of the spot, they makes them less of a golfer.
Yeah, I just think those two, you have all the skill in the world, but hitting golf shots and knowing how to manage your game on the golf course is playing golf.
Yeah.
Like flighting in curvature, it fills in all the gaps.
And by the way, it's
Right.
managing your bad golf. It's not the
And,
good golf. It's
even
managing
hitting
your
to the
bad
correct
golf.
side of a fairway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Angles
I
matter a
think
lot. That's
most
right.
kids just look at it as a fairway.
That'd be another good
How
title.
about that kid,
Angles
the kid
matter.
today?
Right.
The young kid.
Because there's some courses where one side of the fairway, that's so nasty. But I love it. There's courses where, let's say Hilton Head, Colonial's got a few. You can be in the fairway and be totally blocked. Just have nothing. But you don't see that much. They're just like, there's that fairway. I'm going to hit it as far as I can out in it. And a lot of them do it.
Awesome stuff, guys, girls, guys. It's been awesome. And also, cheers to the best team out there to work with, teach with, coach with, and develop folks. Awesome. Coop, thanks so much for making the trip down from Augusta. Well played.
Thank you.
Mo, I miss you during the summer.
Miss you too.
Uh-huh. Zach Suker, I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad you've taken this step and are teaching and coaching because you're making a difference. These kids love it. I did tell one parent that said you're so good with their son, and I said that's because he's relates pretty much on the same age. I did say that. I'll be honest.
Yes, it might be right
And Doc, what would I do without you? Being my therapist.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of work, but I love it.